Thank you, Father Scully, and don't worry about the mispronunciation of my name. I can guarantee you I have been called worse in life. And my only question to you, Father Scully, is how did we miss in the Archdiocese of Chicago getting you to be a priest of this archdiocese? We lost out on that one. It's Notre Dame's and the Holy Cross Father's gain. I'm delighted to see so many people here, and I had a chance to greet a number of you when you were entering the room. I want to acknowledge in a special way all of our sponsors, those who helped underwrite this breakfast so that everything that is realized will go to the Scholarship Fund on behalf of students in need. It's a great tribute to all of you who are sponsors about your commitment, not just to Catholic education, but to the families and young people who benefit from those scholarship dollars. Thank you so very much. I also want to acknowledge a number of elected officials who are here with us today. Thank you for taking time. I know you're very busy with the agenda that you have to attend to in the legislature, and also those who serve in other capacities. Thank you all for being here. Mayor Rahm Emanuel called me and wanted to be here, but his schedule wouldn't permit it. But in many ways, he is here because he sent Amy Rule, who's ever at his side. So thank you, Amy, for being here today. It is very energizing for me to look around this room this morning and see so many willing partners already invested in our Catholic schools. All of you have my deep admiration and gratitude, not only for attending this breakfast, but also for the obvious commitment you have to our families, students, faculty, staff, administration, and parishes, which make up the communities within our school system. These first few weeks of my service as the Archbishop of Chicago have convinced me that there is no challenge or issue facing us for which we do not have the needed human and other resources. And your being here today steels me in that conviction. The organizers of this event have asked me to address the topic, the future of Catholic education in the Archdiocese of Chicago. But before I get into the future, I think it's good to say a few words about the past. My aim in doing so is simply to highlight how far we have come, but also to draw attention to the need to redouble our efforts if we're going to be true to our proud heritage. I will end my remarks by speaking about the opportunities, but also the urgency of this moment for all adults to partner together for our children, and for us as Catholics to adapt to new developments and challenges with a humility that is equal to our pride, in order for our Catholic schools to build on the legacy handed on to us, a legacy that has benefited our faith and our civic communities. We have a proud past. We're here today because of what happened 130 years ago this past fall. The bishops of the United States, 75 in all, met for the Third Council of Baltimore from November 9th to December the 7th, 1884, and among other things decreed the following with regard to Catholic schools. Parochial schools are an absolute necessity, and every parish is obliged to have a school. Pastors are obligated to establish a Catholic school in their parishes. Parents are required to send their children to a Catholic school unless they get the permission from the bishop. Schools should be free if needed. The decrees about schools from the Council of Baltimore were fairly well followed as a rule, not just as a norm, until the early 1970s. At least that was my experience growing up in Omaha, Nebraska. When parishes were established, no permission was given to build a church by the Archbishop until the school was up and running. And I'm sure that many of you had the experience of Mass celebrated in school halls or gymnasiums in newly established parishes until the church could be built. Of course, much has changed over these 130 years. Just consider these comparisons. In 1884, the Catholic population numbered about 300,000. Today, it's almost 70 million. There were 127 parishes in 1884. Today, 17,000. 130 years ago, there were 59 schools with 22,000 students. Today, 1,300 high schools with 612 students and 55 elementary schools with 1.4 million students. Yes, we are here because of that legacy of commitment made 130 years ago and renewed in every generation since then. But we're also here today because we, our church and society, have benefited from that legacy, and we want to see it continue and prosper. Undoubtedly, the world and the church are much different than the days of the Third Baltimore Council. And some of these decrees seem to be out of touch with reality. Let's start with the most obvious one. Parents are required to send their children to Catholic schools unless they get my permission. I don't seem to be getting a lot of traction on that one. I guess not everybody got the memo. But while some aspects of these decisions by the bishops 130 years ago seem outdated, what we should focus on is what is at the heart of their commitment to Catholic schools. It was a threefold conviction. First, that education is mediated by communities in which the adults sacrifice and make demands of each other for the benefit of their children. Second, that they, as adults, are linked to a tradition of passing on faith and knowledge that works. Three, that there must be an intentional aim of giving youth the tools to be the next generation of adults who will continue that legacy for the good of the church and society. We, in short, have an educational system not only that works, but is designed to perpetuate itself to the benefit of our faith communities and to the civic order. Just one set of figures bring home our claim that our system works and contributes to the greater good. 95% of the children who attend our schools graduate from high school. And these graduates, statistically, are 4 times more likely to vote in elections. That might be a wake-up call for some here today. My point is simple. Our system of education works. It benefits society and deserves support so that it can continue. We are proud that the Archdiocese of Chicago school system has the largest number of national blue ribbon schools of any system of schools, public or private, in this country. We are equally proud that each year the Archdiocesan family, through the annual Catholic Appeal and our parish contributions, provide over $30 million of financial support to our schools. And that is beyond the good work that other organizations like the Big Shoulders Foundations, religious communities, foundations, and other partners are providing. Financial aid is needed because of the large number of minority students that we educate. And we value that diversity. It makes us better. Tuition assistance has allowed young people in need to attend our schools. It has given them a chance to achieve so much in the world, such as 6 of the 9 justices of the United States Supreme Court who attended Catholic schools, all of whom received tuition assistance. We are to be proud, but humble. While there is justifiable pride in how far we have come, there must be an equal humility as we move into the future. We are humble that we have come so far because of the great sacrifice that religious women have made since the early days of the church in this country. They built our school systems. They built our school system, and we should never forget it. We are humbled that this legacy of sacrifice continues today in people like Katie Olson and her colleagues. Presently, we are able to operate at lower cost, sometimes at half the rate of other school systems. Why? Because, to some degree, our teachers and staff take a fraction of the salary allotted in other school systems. We are able to run our schools the way we do because of their sacrifice, and that too should not be forgotten. We are also humbled by the increasing attraction our school system has for minorities and low-income families who have the aspirations of all parents to better the lives of their children. We are humbled by the challenges of shifting demographics that place pressures on our parishes and our schools, all of which calls for creative and imaginative solutions that go beyond past parish boundaries. We are humbled that much of our infrastructure built decades ago has to be a factor in making decisions about the future. And we are humbled that today people relate to their parishes differently than in the past, due in part to greater mobility in the workforce and the loss of ethnic loyalties that once bound communities together. This new kind of relationship can cause tensions as pastoral leaders try to understand how their schools fit into the mission of the parish. Yes, we have our challenges, and these challenges humble us. But they are nowhere near the ones that faced the church 130 years ago. We have the human and other resources to address them, but we need to do this together and invite, in all humility, new partners. Making our system of education stronger and particularly more available to families in need of financial aid are at the heart of the To Teach Who Christ Is campaign. Its aim is to bolster and sustain the tuition assistance we provide the tens of thousands of children who attend our 240 schools, served by over 7,000 tax-paying teachers. But with all these private efforts, we still stand in need of other partners, simply because our school system each year attracts more and more families who are in need, many minority families, many of whom are not Catholic. And we educate them not because they're Catholic or we think they're going to become Catholic, but we do it because we are Catholic and we have a proven product and we're good at it and we know how to do it. Yet, there is a limit to how much we can do. While it is true that nationwide Catholic schools save the taxpayer over $20 billion each year, it is also true that the likelihood of continuing this legacy is in doubt without some adjustments that will give families a choice through government cooperation. There are promising signs that many citizens in this country and in our state recognize in greater numbers the benefit of giving school choice to families. They see that we can educate children to quality programs for less, that we have a good product, that our students grow up to be good citizens. But the contrary is also true. If the state were to lose more Catholic schools, it will increase the burden on the taxpayers. I'm aware that many good people associated with EdChoice, which I fully support, are working with many of our elected officials on legislation that will not only provide tax incentives for individuals and corporations to increase donations to scholarship providers for parochial schools, but also add significant dollars to public and charter schools. I want to be clear. This is not about pitting private schools versus public and charter schools. The effort aims to team all three sectors up together so that all families have access to a high-quality school, no matter what sector they're in. Recently, a reporter asked me if I felt as though the Catholic schools were not getting credit for the way that they help public school budgets, taking the cost of so many students off the tax rolls. My answer was simply, I don't think in those terms. As far as I'm concerned, no matter what school these children are in, they're all our children. That is my invitation to all the citizens of this state, and especially our elected officials, and all of you here today. Let's remember that they're all our children. We bring to the table our tradition of challenging each other as adults to sacrifice and to make demands of each other for the benefit of our children, in which we as adults recognize that we are linked to a tradition of passing on faith and knowledge that works, and in which there is an intentional aim of giving you the tools to be the next generation of adults who will continue that legacy for the good of the church and the good of society. We ask others to join us in that vision by supporting the To Teach Who Christ Is campaign and by partnering in the efforts to give all parents and families a choice when it comes to the education of their children. We have a proud past, but we are equally humble about the future. For it is a humility that recognizes we have so many reasons to be thankful for the sacrifices of so many in the past, but we also understand that new partnerships are needed for us to continue the legacy handed on to us. I welcome the challenge of making the case for that partnership and the opportunity to invite you to join me in building on all that we have received. Your presence today makes me proud, but keeps me humble, in knowing that none of us can do this alone. Thank you for your support.